First time I've done it.
Test one, two, test one, two, test one, two, test one, two, test one, two.
Thanks. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. This is a regular board meeting for the Rockcastle County Board of Education. First thing on our agenda tonight is I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we're going to have a moment of silent prayer. Item 1B is a roll call. Let the minutes reflect that all board members are present. Miss Ann. You're fine. I held out, but Carrie's over here punching me. And she's like, you need to get this on the.
Sorry, guys.
Item 1C is the reading of board team commitments. Has anyone got those in front of them right now?
Hold on.
Matt, would you mind to do that, please?
To improve our effectiveness, the board team for Rockcastle County Schools commits to review processes and experiences to identify and direct improvements, continuously define and work toward long-term goals that serve all students of the district, make each decision based on facts and the best for all students, listen to each other and speak freely, work together, support each other and not surprise one another, discuss board deliberations to point a mutually agreeable resolution based on factual information, support the majority's decision projecting board unity towards shared goals for continuously improving district-wide student learning, operate without personal or political agendas, respect one another, agree to disagree respectfully, delegate implementation to superintendent and education team, and to respectfully remind each other of these commitments.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 2 is adopt the agenda. Dr. Ballinger has not told me of anything that needs to be changed. With that being said, I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor? Item 3 is our school and our community showcase. And the first thing is our staff recognition of upholding the core values of Rockcastle County Schools.
I say this every time we do this, but this really is the highlight of our board meetings. This month we do not have a student presentation. It was scheduled to be the middle school. However, since we have been out of school for 2 weeks with COVID, they were not able to prepare to come, so we're going to reschedule them. So tonight we get to celebrate our staff, which is always an exciting event. So if you want to help me, Miss Angie, we'll start off, and we're going to start off tonight recognizing Miss Starla Binge. Miss Starla is an exceptional, gifted, and talented educator whose leadership and dedication positively impacts students across Rockcastle County. She goes above and beyond to create meaningful learning experiences that challenge students academically while developing leadership and character. From administering GT assessments and supporting the Portrait of a Rocket initiative to leading the academic teams, organizing the district spelling bee, and coordinating enrichment experiences, Ms. Starla ensures students have opportunities to grow inside and outside the classroom. Through her work with the RCHSY Club and Chick-fil-A Leader Academy, she continues to inspire students to become confident learners, collaborative leaders, and engaged citizens. Ms. Starla Binge. And everything in our district. We really appreciate you. Thank you. You're rock stars. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, next on our list we have Mr. Chuck and Miss Stephanie Baker, and we're honored to have them here with us tonight. Mr. Chuck and Miss Stephanie exemplify exceptional teamwork within the Rockcastle County Transportation Department. They consistently demonstrate dedication by building strong, positive relationships with students and their families. Chuck and Stephanie regularly go above and beyond to support the department, whether by transporting bus monitors, assisting with alternate routes, or providing transportation for JAG students from CAP multiple times each month. Their willingness to help, paired with their genuine commitment to colleagues, schools, and students, makes a meaningful impact across the district. Miss Becky Stone is next on our list to recognize. And Miss Becky exemplifies the core values of teamwork each and every day. As an integral member of our special education team, she works tirelessly to support schools teachers, and students, ensuring their needs are met with care, collaboration, and dedication. Miss Becky Stein. Becky, her office is in central office, but you rarely see her. She's just going up and down the steps and out the doors because she's always supporting our teachers and our kids. So we appreciate her so much. Miss Monica Hurst. All right, Miss Monica consistently demonstrates exceptional dedication to accuracy, accountability, and service. She approaches her work with a strong sense of ownership, ensuring financial records are precise, deadlines are met, and staff and leadership receive timely, reliable support. Always willing to go above and beyond, Monica anticipates needs, resolves issues with professionalism, and brings a steady, dependable presence to her role. Her commitment directly supports the success of the entire team and truly reflects what it means to be a Rocket leader. Ms. Monica Hurst. Ms. Sandy McClure. Ms. Sandy McClure is the epitome of a Rocket leader. She is deeply committed to serving the students and families of Mount Vernon Elementary, consistently ensuring that each child and family feels seen, valued, and respected. With care and compassion at the forefront, Ms. Sandy goes above and beyond to meet the needs of her school community. She is always the first to step in when help is needed and unfailingly puts students first, making her a true Rocket leader. Miss Sandy. Elementary and every family. We appreciate you. Miss Kelly Hughes. Miss Kelly Hughes has been a valued member of Rockcastle County Schools for many years, serving in a variety of roles at Rockcastle County High School, Mount Vernon Elementary, and currently at Rockcastle County Middle School. In her current position, she supports students with some of the highest needs in the district. A true team player, Ms. Kelly is always willing to do whatever it takes to serve students and support the district. In addition to her daily work, she provides CPR and AED training for staff, serves as a home hospital instructor. Her unmatched care for students, flexibility in challenging situations, and commitment to collaboration make her a shining example of the core value of teamwork. Ms. Kelly Hughes. I can't say how many times I hear Mr. Records say across the hall, Miss Kelly will do it. What the hell, Miss Kelly?
Quick to volunteer.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Miss Marquita Proctor. Miss Marquita serves as an instructional coach for our Rocket leaders and is deeply committed to ensuring every teacher in the district has access to high quality, professional learning and meaningful coaching support. She developed the Rocket Leader Coach Hub, intentionally designing it as a centralized space where teachers can access resources anytime to support instructional growth and continuous improvement. Through her tireless efforts, thoughtful guidance, and constant encouragement, Ms. Marquita empowers our Rocket leaders to reflect, grow, and strengthen their practice, ultimately enhancing learning outcomes for all students. Ms. Marquita Proctor. Ms. Marquita is the constant learner. Like, she is always striving to learn something new and get better. So we appreciate you.
Just would like to add, something that I feel like Rockcastle County Schools is successful is because of the examples of the leaders that you just saw up here. So thank you all so much. Some of you, I've had personal experiences with you. Miss Sandy, I can use her for an example just because I've known her forever. And I see her a lot every day interacting with those kids and loving on them. And she's just all of you are that way. So thank you for everything you do for the families and our kiddos. That's why we're all here. And I hope we never lose focus of that very thing. So thank you all so much.
Just off the rip, the weather has been hard on us the past couple of weeks. we're grateful that everything's starting to thaw out, turn around, and they're trying to pick back up. We were able to continue working in a lot of different areas, but I wouldn't say that they were the most productive areas in all of those. And we'll go through everything here in the pictures. This first picture, it's kind of impromptu, but I wanted to hand this one off to Ken and let him announce.
This thing's set right in the middle. Well, maybe not the middle, but it was definitely in the way.
It was in the way.
Several months, and that I said that of the all middle school project, this has been the most beautiful part so far that has been completed. So.
And I will tell you that is a significantly sized chilling tower. So that is so the chilling tower pad has been poured and the pad has been set. And I know that was I wanted to let Ken have that one because that was a glorious moment for him to get that out of his way.
Where was it at? Just curious.
It is in the very back of the school.
No, where was it at when it was in the way?
Where the fuel pumps are at,
Yeah, right there by the.
right above. We've got
Good
about
place for it,
6
right?
parking spots.
Yeah. Yeah. Or more.
6 school buses.
Yeah,
6 school buses.
Yeah.
Like 12 regular cars.
Yeah. It's
It's a monster.
But that has now been set, and they've got the foundation back there in the back where that excavator's sitting. They've got the foundation board for the loading dock, so they're moving on with that. You go to the next slide. We've got both the entries from the new cafeteria area, the hallway area into the existing school. Those entrances have been cut in. Temporary shoring's in place, waiting on the new beams to be installed, but they're on their way down here and going to be installed. You can go to the next slide. And then got a couple pictures here. This is one of the ramp going into the courtyard area. So that ramp has been poured. That is completed. And invite anybody to just check in with Daryl if you want to come take a look at the courtyard. Outside of the turf, the courtyard it's wrapped up. There's soil in the planters. They've finished that courtyard up. And that, as I mentioned before, that's kind of a big stage just to get that done before we close everything off with the bus tunnel and everything going in. So that's the ramp that got poured. And then we got another picture here later on, but this is back inside into the kitchen. All of that, I know it looks like it's water, but it was still all ice. But no, they have made, again, it may have not necessarily been the most productive spots to be at the time or where we needed to be working, but they were able to continue working. The roof was actually going on the kitchen and cafeteria area today. So once all this gets cleaned out and cleared out, it will be dried in those 2 locations of the kitchen, the cafeteria, and all that portion of the upper level. They have made significant progress on the rough ends for the overhead in the kitchen and cafeteria. There's a line that they've got to reroute for the sprinkler pipe. They just kind of ran it straight through where the kitchen head's going to go, but they've got to reroute that line. But by and large, the above ceiling rough end is near complete in the kitchen cafeteria area. So they've been plugging along there. That's the exterior wall of the or the interior wall of the lower level going down that big corridor. They're continuing with the masonry. By the end of the week, all of the first floor masonry will be completed. By Friday, all of the first floor masonry is going to be completed at the lower level. Friday, and then working through the weekend. We've talked with the steel guys today. They're trying to pick up a little bit of time, and they're going to be working through the weekend this weekend, setting the steel down on what will be the second floor of that. And then that would be inclusive also, they'll be setting all those bus tunnel beams going in. That's pouring the stairs going into the courtyard. Got concrete blankets on that. All that's been stripped off now. And again, if anybody wants to check in with Daryl and just walk it, that courtyard it's looking really good. And then that's just the site, looking out through the bus. I think Daryl's trying to point out in that picture, actually, that the chilling tower was moved.
He's mentioned all this because I've brought this up at every single
It's
monthly
been
meeting.
a pain for him. It has been a
I did not let him forget about it.
No. And then in the mechanical room, they're working on all the head units, bringing in the chiller pipe, the geothermal piping on the mechanical side. They are making good progress on that. The upper mechanical room That was kind of the upper level of the gym that's been converted. Most of the ducts pretty much all in there. That's been insulated, and they're plugging along in there as well. And then that's the steps and heading out to the ramp courtyard. Again, pretty much all that is rubbed and done. They've got all the stone down ready for turf. They've got the lighting in, so it's just a matter of as soon as the weather breaks this spring, getting the turf guys in there to install the turf in the courtyard. That again is the lower level. They're bringing all those walls up, and they should be wrapped up with that by Friday and ready for all the steel in the lower area. I think that's the last one. Is there another one? No. That's the last one. So they are making progress. Again, the weather has killed us this past couple weeks. But we will continue to strive and do everything we can to keep pushing everybody along. And we're going to be hammering on them pretty hard because I mean, staring down at summer, I would say that probably, I have no, I have no issues just saying, I would like to say next month I can tell you 100% what the deal is, but this month I would like to say let's wait till next month without a solid, serious push within this month. That would be a concern for me on the outlook of summer. But outside of that, I would like to have the next 30 days behind us to see what the kind of progress they can make to be able to give a full commitment on one way or the other. So, does anybody have any questions?
I know a couple of months ago, y'all talked about maybe moving into the new kitchen before this year was over. Is that still a thing, or is that?
So that's something, I know Daryl has actually been in communication with Trent about that. That is something that we're going to continue to evaluate one way or the other. I think, and jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is we do have the cooler regardless. So then that would be a matter of navigating. In the event that something doesn't work out and we're sitting here saying, hey, I don't know if summer's viable. I think the cooler is still something that we want in the kitchen. I don't know if the kitchen and cafeteria would still be something that we want regardless. And I think that's very, very attainable. That's not an issue at all. So if that's something we're still entertaining, I would absolutely consider that. And I think that should be on the table regardless of whether, from our standpoint anyway, that would be something that's on the table on our end regardless of anything else.
That actually worked out that Mr. Bishop found out that compressor was under warranty for our current cooler, so we're in better shape than we
Okay.
were when I last talked to you guys.
Okay. So, but that's kind of where we stand. Anything else?
Oh, explain the cooler situation to me. Is it putting in a new cooler or moving the existing cooler?
The new cooler will be put in. The new cooler is ready. It's in the warehouse. They're just chomping at the bit to put it in. They just need it with the weather.
That's for
it had already been in.
Oh,
Our new cooler.
Yeah.
The existing cooler in the school right now went down for some time, but
It did. The compressor went bad, but Mr.
Okay.
Bishop found out that it was under warranty. He could probably tell you more about it than me, and one's on order right now, so we'll have it back soon.
Yeah, but within the week, I think we'll have the old freezer in the building. We'll have it up and running.
Yeah.
Just the compressor went down, and it's like a $6,000 compressor, but it's under warranty, so. That's
And so we have a mobile unit trailer.
Yes,
That's-
we were
that's
trying not to
the
throw
only
good
thing
money
that
after
we
bad,
right
you know what I
now.
mean? We were trying to
Sure, I
leverage the new
understand.
cooler if we
Yeah.
could and not spend that money.
Yeah.
We were trying to
Yeah.
do good.
But it worked out. Chris
Yes.
saved the day.
Gary Pruitt saved the day. He's always the answer. to tell things.
You do a
Straw
fine job. I mean, either one of you can come and do the presentation. Okay. You do okay. Thank you
I'll
so,
take it.
yeah,
I'll take
thank
it.
you so much.
Absolutely.
It's always great to see these pictures and,
That's right.
see the progress. So we appreciate you all coming and doing this.
Absolutely, not a problem. Thank you all. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4 is operations and actions. Are there any particulars you need to discuss? Okay. Any questions for Dr. Ballinger?
Make a motion?
Okay,
Second.
first and second, all in favor?
Yep.
Okay. Item 5A, review and approve the monthly financial reports. Ms. Jenny?
Okay. You have your financial reports for the month of January in front of you. I wanted to point out, we have a revenue, balance in Fund One of little over $760,000. That's a little bit lower because we have made our transfer from general fund for local effort property taxes that are transferred to building funds. So those are transferred to Fund 320. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Expenses of $1.9 million. And again, the transfer, of property taxes, we transferred 1.3 million from Fund One to Fund 320. Those are the highlights for Fund One and Fund 320. Another transfer that occurred during this month, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it when we look at our working budget that I'm presenting to you, is a transfer from Building Fund, Fund 320, to construction. We had a transfer of a little over $3.2 million that is part of the middle school project. You have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Jenny? Not need a motion to approve the monthly financial reports.
Second.
All in favor? Item 5B, review and approve the year ending June 30th, 2025 audit.
So just one correction on here. I am Shad J. Allen. I'm a CPA, but the business name did change. It is just my last name now and Associates. So Allen and Associates Pre LLC, and that we did that last year just because of the size of our firm, how we're growing, and to incorporate all our employees. And we'd like to just be, my name.
And I
Figured it out.
apologize.
That's all
I
right.
apologize for that. We're used to working with you as
It's
Mr. Chad
actually,
Allen.
it's been in a few places on the state website too, so.
So I apologize. We'll correct.
Oh,
We'll make that
No
correct.
issue, just wanted you guys to know that, just that way that there wasn't any confusion. So this is the, June 30, 2025, report. So typically, this report is, due to the state by November 15th. This year that was extended to January 31st automatically. The reason for that is because we had the federal shutdown. And then also part of this is a single audit that we call it. There's 3 audits in here, but one of those is a federal audit on federal monies. There's a compliance supplement that is basically a guideline for that audit. It was also delayed because of the shutdown. So that's the reason for me being here later this year, which I was driving on the way in. I was like, this is the first time I've been to a board meeting and it's been daylight. So yeah, that's why. That's why. So, all right. Well, so once again, this was a very good audit report. We didn't have any findings. The results were good. The financial condition of the school system is very good also. The suite also always does a very good job of as far as providing us what we need and everything. So half of the battle of an audit, if anybody's ever been through one or done one, is actually getting information from the entity in a timely manner for us to even be able to start on our work. So that isn't any issue here. It's always a pleasure working with the staff and the board. So like I was saying, it's a audit, but there's 3 audits in here. So the first audit is called the financial statement audit. In that audit, the purpose of it is to determine if the financial statements are materially or are presented correctly in material fact. Bunch of words there. Basically, is the information in here that's presented accurate? Can a third party rely upon it? And from that, the result of that audit would be an opinion that we give on the financial statements. And the highest level of opinion is the unmodified opinion, is what it's called, or a clean opinion, sometimes people will call it. So that's what the school district did receive, as usual, for their June 30th, 2025 year end. The second part of the audit is what we refer to as a yellow book audit. Basically, if you receive any state monies or then that is required, That audit is a review of the internal controls that are in place to determine if they are designed appropriately and if they are operating effectively. There's also a third part to that audit, and that is compliance with state laws and regulations. So if there were any issues in there, that's where there would be findings from the report from our audit. Once again, the school district did not receive any findings in their audit. They complied with all the laws and regulations, and the controls that are in place are good, designed appropriately, and if there were any issues throughout the year, we didn't find them. What that means is that if there are issues that if there's an error, if there's a mistake or something like that, that the controls that are in place are that they're found in a timely manner. So I'm not saying that there weren't any or that there were, but that's the purpose of that report, and that's the purpose of the internal controls is to have two people involved in all financial transactions, just to prevent any issues. And then, like I was saying, the single audit, which is an audit in regards with the OMB compliance supplement, is the final part. So whenever there's $750,000 of federal money spent in any given fiscal year, then that audit's triggered. That amount is changing for the upcoming fiscal year. That is now $1 million, but the school district, I believe, will be in well excess of spending that much in federal money to be able to tell you what was spent in total federal expenditures for 2025 were 6.5 million. So you guys are going to be well within the requirement to have that audit. So it's similar to the Yellow Book audit, but it's just in regards to those federal expenditures in those major programs, as we determined. Once again, we did not find any issues with the internal controls that were in place, and the grant agreements and laws were all complied with. So that's the three audits in there. Once again, very good job overall, and just going to kind of touch on just some of the things that we're seeing out there right now, because we do quite a few school district audits throughout the state. So in the legislature, I believe there's some bills going through about some more financial oversight being out there. My kicker is always the budget. You know, the budget, if you are seeing any issues out there, usually there was an issue with budgeting. They didn't put in the correct beginning balance for the year. It's typical of what happens, and then as they go through the year, they go, well, we're out of money. What happened? Well, you thought you had more than you did. So that's why that's so important as it's presented to the board is this is, you know, what we're starting with, our carryover balance. And then throughout the year, this is what we project we're going to bring in our expenditures. School district was well within the parameters of the budget. The beginning balance was accurate. And sometimes what happens if there is a beginning balance that isn't accurate would be that whenever the auditor comes in, which is after the working budget has been presented, submitted, is that there's several adjustments to the financial statements. We didn't face that here. How the financial statements are being presented to the board throughout the year before our audit are correct, accurate. So just want to kind of throw that in there because that's the budget is such a key tool to managing finances for the school district. But that's all that I had. And you guys have any questions? I'm here.
Well, it's always good to hear that we have a good budget
Yes,
and a good audit, okay? So you're welcome to come back as long as you bring a piece.
I don't expect us to see anything different. So
I know that years ago, when I would receive these audit reports, there would be many, many pages. Do you remember, Miss Jenny? You know what I'm saying? And I know that Miss Jenny has worked diligently with everybody throughout our school system, and I thank you for everything that you do. She makes all of this look really easy, and we know that it's not. So So,
listening to you, we just have to say, we have a great team.
yes,
have a great
you do have a great
We
team.
have a great
Yes.
finance team, and we have excellent bookkeepers in our schools, and that is so important to the financial stability of our district. And just want to commend them for their work at the school level as well.
And of course you would say that because I didn't expect anything less, but I'm still behind every good team is a very good leader. And you are a very good leader in the area that you serve this school district. But when I was trying to tell Miss Lisa here, those were the pages that I used to try to pull out and really read because a lot of this is Greek to me.
Mhm.
And it's good not to see a lot of those pages anymore, any of those pages. So, but thank you for the job that your team does for us.
Thanks for having us.
From an outside perspective, is there anything budget-wise that we should be concerned about? Not how we're doing it, but just long-term.
You know, long-term wise is just gonna be kind of seeing what is going on in Frankfurt, those type of things. I mean, right now, the fund balance is a good fund balance that the school district has. So just trying to see if what they're gonna change there. I know, to me, the funding mechanism that's out there for schools really ties girls' hands with, because it's property tax, 4% increase each year. Uh, So on the revenue side is where you don't really have that much control, unfortunately. Maybe they'll figure something out on that part to where as we have inflation and these other issues that are all coming about, that there could be some more leeway there. But I don't know what they're doing up there. I see it in the news just like everybody else. But so that's about the only thing that I can really tell you for the long term.
Any other questions? Thank you so much for coming.
You'll have a good one.
Thank you.
Move to approve the audit.
That's what I, yeah, that's what I did.
All right. So next we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Oh, did you do it?
Yeah.
I'm mad. I didn't read one of them. Harry was talking to me. We're gonna blame her, okay? All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you all so much. Item 5C, review and approve the revised 25-26 working budget.
I thought it was important to bring to you a revision in the working budget. Mr. Shad spoke about budgeting and the importance that it is, for our sustainability, our transparency, and just wanted to, there was a change that I needed to make in the budget, and I felt it important to bring that to you. In September, you approved our working budget. That budget was submitted to KDE. Once we received, at the time that we had our budget, we had received our forecast for SEEK. When we received our tentative SEEK allocation, there was a change, a slight decrease in funding, and that was due to a change in our local property assessments. And we actually, Dr. Ballinger and I have spent a great deal of time studying property assessments. And, as you are aware, we have equalization in the state of Kentucky. And because of equalization and a change in the assessment, it wasn't really our local public taxes, it was public service taxes, and it was the reassessment of CSX properties in our county was an increase, and it created a slight decrease in our overall SEEK allocation. So a decrease of $201,000, and it was important for us to take a look at our working budget and reflect that. So that change has been made. SEEK has been decreased. The revenue was decreased $201,281. And I'm sure the question would be, how did we do that? So it gave the opportunity to take a quick look at where are we with our revenues. And there were a couple areas that we've gone a little, we had a little bit of an increase. Interest was one of the areas. So I did go ahead and make that increase, where we are tracking to have a positive in interest. The net appropriations was a net change of $43,000. So working with some of our department heads, we looked at what changes can we make, in the budget for this year. Is there something that we plan to purchase that maybe we're not going to need? Or, maybe there's something that, that come in a little bit under budget. So those changes were made. That budget is being presented to you this evening. So that was the Fund 1 change. I did make a budget change in Fund 320 to account for the FSPK transfer from our building fund to our construction fund. And this was approved. You already approved that on our BG1. That transfer I previously referenced, that transfer has been made during the month of January. And that transfer is a little over 3.2 million as reflected on the BG1. So I wanted to point those out to you as changes to the working budget. I've confirmed that this working budget does not have to be resubmitted to KDE, but I did want to present it to you for approval.
Why does it not have to be submitted to KDE?
Because we've already submitted the budget, and those were approved by KDE in December.
Okay.
But it's important for us to, to present it to you and have approval on file.
So with those dollars less in the siege,
Mhm.
what is that going to impact?
So, a couple of the areas that it will impact, and Mr. Trent, Mr. Ken, and I've had conversations about their budgets. There were some areas that, there might be something that we purchase next fiscal year versus this fiscal year, or maybe, again, maybe a quote that came in a little less. So we carefully examined, our budget, and only changes were made at the district level, not at the school. So no school level budgets were impacted.
So at the end of the day, you said 43,000 less in
40.
revenue, and then we cut spending by about equal amount or close to that.
We had some increases in revenue. Maybe, I mentioned interest was one of the areas.
Right.
So it's a net decrease of 43,000.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor? Yep. Miss Jenny, I appreciate all your hard work on this working budget every year. And I'll just be honest, I've heard the same spiel for however many years, and it's like birds are flying around my head right now. We're just trying to take it all in. Do you all ever feel this way? Am I the only person here? Okay, you do, Victor?
Well, I want to just say kudos to Miss Jenny because she dug and studied and worked for 3 solid weeks trying to figure out why that happened with our property taxes. And then just to get down to that granular level to realize, okay, CSX was reevaluated, that increase, so our local properties amount decreased. I mean, we called a lot of people and we did a lot of work, but I just appreciate that because she wasn't satisfied with just getting that piece of paper that says, okay, you have this decrease. We really wanted to study and know why, because if it's something we could prevent in the future, we wanted to know. So I just appreciate all of that.
So because CSX's property increased, their
Their
property
value increased.
you would think that would be beneficial to us.
I mean, it's backwards from what you think.
I mean,
It
so
is.
what I'm
It's
saying,
it's backwards from common sense.
is it because it's not really a government entity, but I mean, it just,
If the more property value you have in a local district, the less the state contributes. So because CSX increased, the state felt like we had more that we could draw from locally, and so they contributed less money.
well, they need to have better tracks through town, and they need to put blocks in their crossings. Would you agree, Ken?
Get something out of that extra.
I agree.
But we did learn a great deal
Yeah.
about, the assessments and how it impacts, that final number and how the results a school district, like ours receives. So, it was a good lesson.
Can we not put an extra tax on all the rock, school tax on all the rock that they take out of it?
No severance tax on gravel, I don't think.
Limestone was a mineral.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Jenny. And next, you're up again for the review and approve the 26-27 draft budget.
Okay, it's time for us to start planning for next school year. And presenting to you a draft budget. It's the base level of where we're going to start our budget. And not to say that a great deal of work doesn't go into the planning of a draft budget. In order for us to begin to talk to schools about SBDM allocations, Dr. Ballinger and I will meet with every principal and discuss SBDM allocations for the upcoming school year. We need to know where we are. Where are we financially? Where is our base? What are our needs for next school year? So I just want to point out a few things to you. I did send this to you on email and wanted to give you some additional time just to look at the budget. So our draft budget, our current budget is at $38 million. And this is just for Fund 1. Projecting a draft budget of $36.8 million. I did want to point out, that's pretty significant change. In our audit, I did report a note, just when you're looking at beginning balances, we just need to remind ourselves, last year when we ended the fiscal year, we had a ending balance of $6.5 million. That trend was higher than, a little bit higher than what we normally would be at. The beginning balance for last year was 5.4. And the reason I want to point that out in discussion about last fiscal year is we had an increase of a little over $1.1 million. As you recall, Rockcastle Academy had roof damage. We received our claim payment for that roof at the end of the fiscal year. Repair was not made until after the beginning of the next fiscal year. So you're going to see that increase. So we just have to remind ourselves, we're not going down this year. We have to equate for the $991,000 that we received on a roof claim. So I view the net increase for last fiscal year at $153,362. So I just want us all to keep that in mind, that we're not going down. We had these dollars. And that happens. You never know when you might not receive a reimbursement until July. And it always impacts the budget, those inflows and outflows. So draft budget, $36.8 million. This equates for no anticipated increase in SEEK. That's a very important factor for us to consider, that we would have no new revenues from SEEK in fiscal year 27. Dr. Bauer, did you have anything?
Just we all need to keep that close in mind as we're thinking about decisions and moving forward.
Inflation is a factor that continues to change constantly. We have significant increased cost in goods and services, especially, I would say especially in transportation and facilities, but it's really everywhere. It's in food service, it's in our instructional programs, our software license. We're seeing significant increases. The budget does account for rent changes and steps for all employees currently employed. The rank changes alone for next year, which is positive. 22 individuals will have a rank change. Next year, their rank and step alone is over $117,000. This budget does support those changes and the anticipated step increases for all employees. While it doesn't equate for that, there were cuts that we had to make. All of our department heads have received their budget, And we have a great deal of work to do. But we're going to have to carefully examine and, can we make it on what is available without any additional SEEK revenues? Facilities and transportation especially, we'll have to carefully examine and plan, for those costs for next year. Do you have any questions about Fund One? A SEEK increase is just so important for those recurring costs and for inflation. The projection for capital funds, is, I've projected that as a flat keeping that current. Fund 320, Fund 400, remember we budget in Fund 400 for our debt payments. We'll have debt payments in fiscal year 27 at almost $3 million. That will be a transfer from our Fund 320. So those cash dollars are currently sitting in Fund 320, and along with the payments that we'll receive from the state next school year. Our food service fund, we've talked about inflation and the cost of goods and services increasing. Things like, thank goodness we'll have a new freezer at the middle school, because it's not cheap to replace some of the equipment that we need across the district. Food service currently is projected to have a budget of $3.1 million.
Okay, talking about food service, we were talking about the compressor on the unit and stuff. Overall, what does our status with equipment in our kitchens look like? Are we in?
Mr. Chris?
Because I know that's a big cost.
Yeah, I think all the schools are pretty good. The middle school, though, we're limping along. We're just trying to get to the opening of the new building. And we've had several issues with the compressor in that unit. It's an old unit, old Freon that they don't recommend anymore, but that's what that unit uses. And we're just, that's the reason we're having to wait 7 to 10 business days to get the compressor, because no one carries it, has it on their shelves anymore. So they're shipping it in from Washington State. So, but it's still under warranty, so that's a good thing. But just the cost to cover the freezer truck that we have, for 7 to 10 days, ever how long that is, that's a hit in the wallet as well.
Will our food distributor not provide that at their cost?
No.
They will not.
No,
Well,
I
mercy.
ask, yeah.
Yeah, we asked.
I mean, they do for a lot of private businesses,
Yeah, they won't for us. We ask.
We're sure they.
we need to change distributors.
What does a freezer trailer cost
Oh,
to buy?
To buy, well, we've looked at those. I mean, reasonably, you can get one for $25,000. I mean, that's like 7 by 12, the trailer type. So
Hopefully, we don't need one after this year, but
yeah, hopefully.
I know it feels like we constantly have some freezer issue somewhere.
And I think that's just, and Trent can probably speak to it better than me. That's just the working of the materials and breaking down and maintenance of those things over time. So there's always something going on with them.
so when the new middle school project is completed, the new kitchen will have all new equipment or
Yes.
some existing?
All new.
Okay. So we can sell that freezer that ain't working that's gonna have that new compressor in it, right?
Well, we'll have a $6,000 compressor that won't be any good to us. We can see what we can do. Now, like all the equipment and things like the ovens and things, those are things we can put in storage. We can keep, if something goes down at another school, we can replace it with what we already own, which will be an oven is,
Oh, I know.
3 years ago, when the week that I took over here, they were putting one in at Broughton, and it was $25,000 for an oven. So, and that's 3 years ago. They're probably
The hood system
$30,000
is
now.
probably what, $100,000?
what?
A hood system,
Oh yeah.
at least?
with just the line, the serving line, they're $200,000 for a serving line. So.
I'm sorry, I got off on that. I
No,
was just,
I understand.
Excellent. So in looking at our budget, just wanted to, your numbers kind of roll up. This budget is massive. It's made up of many, many, many accounts. And, when I look at this document, if you turn over, if you kind of glance over, and we looked at, just for an example, instruction salaries in our school district, we're looking at $12 million. Not a lot of change from last school year, if you just look at numbers. I want the board to have the confidence that every budget, every line item is touched and reviewed. So, we look at which retirements, we look at step increases. Those things are evaluated in this budget. And in a time when transparency is important and the communication with our board is vital, I just wanted to point you to have the confidence that we look at every number. And it's important. Every dollar counts in Rockcastle County Schools. Every single dollar. And it's something that you as a board, us as an administrative team, our school administrators, our community, we can all be very proud of the work that's going on in our school district, and the local dollars are very well spent. So just wanted for you to have that confidence that we are looking at every dollar. And as you review this, if you have questions, we have a great deal of work ahead of us. This is just the first step. I will be bringing the tentative budget back to you in May. And, I hope we have some good news by then that the legislature is behind us and going to support the students at Rockcastle County with some additional seed dollars. It's very important.
I also want to make a comment. There's certain districts in the state, larger districts, that use software programs that they rely upon to review and to plan for their budget, and we don't do that. Miss Jenny and her finance team go through everything by hand and analyze everything by hand, and it is extremely time consuming, but we can be confident in the numbers that we present, that they've been reviewed sufficiently.
And I think y'all have spoken to this before, but as far as software programs and just programs that we pay for, not just software, but we're annually looking at that and making sure that we're not paying for things we're not using. And
Yes.
We talked about that this morning at our leadership team meetings.
well,
Yes.
I saw a graphic yesterday that it was how people lose money, but unused subscriptions was one of them. But I know that's whatever mine is at home, that multiply it by 30 million to get to our number. So I know that's
Sure. And that is work that the administrative team with Dr. Ballinger and our school leaders will be working on as we move toward that tentative budget, is evaluating our needs, evaluating existing programs, getting new quotes for the next school year, because, oftentimes from year to year, we see significant recurring costs and changes in those costs. So it's very important that we plan carefully next school year, especially without additional SEEK revenues.
thank you, Miss Jenny. Need a motion to approve the
all
draft.
moved.
Okay, all in favor? I didn't mean to cut you off. That was I didn't mean anything by that. 5E is review and approve the amended 25-26 Rockcastle County School calendar.
You think we need to look at the calendar? So usually we do this in April. I'll come and ask you to amend the calendar, but obviously the last 2 weeks have been rough on everyone. I'm glad it was 70 today. Probably not more glad than Ken, but you can see there the days that were canceled. The traditional snow days are highlighted there in light blue. We did have one in December as well, so That was 6 days that we canceled school. We have had 9 NTI days. NTI is an instructional day, so it's not marked on there because it is an instructional day. So come to you tonight, asking that we change the calendar, that we amend the calendar, and two big changes. The first is President's Day, which is the February 16th, which is Monday, making that an instructional day. And of course, that was a break day. That was a day that everyone was going to be off. So I'm asking the board to make that a regular instruction day. And then on March 13th, that was going to be a PD day, Professional Development Day. Students wouldn't be there, staff would be present for that day, asking the board to make that also a regular instruction day. So that would gain us 2 days back. And then I'm asking the board to scroll up just a little bit, Brandon, there, or scroll down rather, so we can see May. May 19th, that is the primary election day. We're asking that to be the PD day that was scheduled there for March. And then that would make, if we made those changes, if the board approves those changes, the last day of school would then be May the 22nd. That would be day 162. And then that would still leave us with one NTI day. And then that would leave us with the following week. Memorial Day is that Monday. As you can see, it's a little bit early. Most time Memorial Day, we think of it as the last of May, but it's a little bit early this year. It's the 25th. So there are 4 days after that. One of those would need to be closing, but we would have those as makeup days. If you have any
And
questions?
this is one of those days that the variable calendar is just so much better, isn't it?
Well,
Okay.
at the same time, you brought it up. But, it just like last year, the same thing, the state allowed districts to go to variable calendar, if they didn't. And it does provide us with flexibility because it's hours instead of days. So, I think you're gonna see probably a lot of districts that haven't, utilized that because the 170 day, it does, makes it more difficult. You don't have as much flexibility.
I make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Thank you all.
Thank you. Well, never mind, I'll ask you. Sorry. Item 6A is review the superintendent's personnel action report.
Give you all just a moment to look over that. It's not quite as busy as it has been. And we currently do not have any certified openings.
Item 7 is department reports. Does anyone have anything they would like to share?
I would like to publicly thank everybody that helped clear snow and ice because it was a bad job and there's a lot of people that pitched in and helped or we wouldn't be in as good shape as we are right now. I really appreciate everybody's effort because it's been a lot of effort.
And our parking lots and sidewalks were as good as anybody's anywhere the whole time. I mean, I really want to say that. I had a note about that, but it was, and it was amazing. They plowed this and it sat for 3 days and didn't thaw at all. There's a spot this way that thawed nothing else, but it was amazing how good a job our sidewalks and parking lots where they got to it quick, which how good they were.
It was a team effort, that's for sure. And
That's some bad stuff.
everybody, I think everybody at one point had a hoe or a shovel or a ice pick or pickaxe, something out there going to town, but we do appreciate it and made a big difference.
Savannah, is this yours with the communications for the academy and?
Yes, so that is something we had kind of transitioned away from when we switched website management systems. Because at the time, MRO had not grown to what it looks like today. So Mr. Woodall had reached out to me recently because they're fabulous about sending me things to share, but they have started doing so many engagement activities with their students that they wanted somewhere to house that. So I was able to reach out to our website company and we had some room that we could add that. So they sent me a mock-up just this week, so we're going to work on building that, and I hope that we have it launched very soon, and that will give them an opportunity to share things, but that also will flow over to our app. So parents will be able to open the app and see things for their MRO students, especially when they have their special days like Christmas. You know, they brought somebody in and did a guided paint party for their students. So this is going to give them a home to showcase stuff that they do, and it's also going to be a hub for the academy as well for them to share things. They're really great about sharing out newsletters, and we try to share those as well. You know, they've integrated club days last year and this year. So this is going to give both of those groups a really great spot to share things out. So I'm super excited for that to get going and us to launch that, and I'll be happy to share that with you all.
I appreciate that just personally, but it's going to be a great thing, and I hope the schools can integrate some information on here too, the high school and middle school, or
Yes.
My Rock Online kids.
Yes, they have really wanted to have that voice to share all the great things they're doing, and they deserve it. They have, you know, they are bringing students in, and, you know, I say this often, looking back at their Christmas party and their Halloween party, just students that usually would not sit at a table and communicate with other students are doing that, and I think a lot of it comes from their work and dedication. So I'm really excited that we're able to give this hub to them to share all the great things they're doing.
And I know we all know this, but we are way ahead of the curve when it comes to My Rock Online. I don't know if you realize that in the state, but it's becoming something, but we've already been doing it. So this will be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Marcus, I have a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
First, how was our attendance?
Well, yesterday was not good, but today was really good. Well, not hardly, but almost half as many out as yesterday. So it was, I haven't run the percentage, but it was good, a whole lot better. Better than I think any of us anticipated.
We were excited.
I mean, it's, you know, this time of year, it's kind of, when you have a break, of course, students do want to come back. And so we do see a bump in attendance whenever we do have a day off or something of that nature. But the winter months are difficult because illnesses, or we hope we're past that, but that seems to catch up with us.
So
We're holding our own.
So as far, how do we count attendance on our NTI days? How do we generate that?
So as far as IC goes, Infinite Campus, there's nothing that's in there. Teachers don't post attendance. I had some questions about, for instance, like a homebound student. It's not in IC because everyone is homebound on that day. So we don't take attendance in IC, but we do have to mark student participation. And so I send a form out. I know they got tired of me sending that form out, but I send a form out to all of the teachers, the certified teachers, and they have to report how many of their students participated. They've got 7 days to do that. So I don't get those results back until a week after. I mean, some will if all their students have participated. So we have to report to the state both the NTI day, the reason for the NTI day, the teacher participation, and the student participation. So that Google Doc that those teachers fill out, I figure that up and then I put that in NIC. But that's how we do student participation. You know, we assume that's completing an assignment, and that is student participation. Obviously, when you complete an assignment, you're participating, but it doesn't have to be that. If they email the teacher a question, they're participating, even if they don't do the assignment. You think of the student that's in your class, they're present, even if they don't do any work, so they get credit for being there. So as long as they engage in some way, shape, or form on that day, they're counted as participating. And that's a little bit confusing for people, but that's the reality of how that's marked.
Well, I was being a mother just then and asking because, you know,
Maybe I shouldn't have said
at
that.
noon, Arabella was still asleep one day, and I'm like, have you not done your assignments? Have you not,
Yeah.
So, and she's like, Mom, I've got the rest of, I can do it today. So.
Yeah, they do have 7 days from that day to complete those assignments. So that does give flexibility to that student to get that done. Of course, we'd like for them to get it done as soon as possible.
And then those days are not counted as for like the average for the month?
No, they're not, because they're not in IC. And, you know, if you look back on those NTI days, they give us the percentage, they give us our SAR amount for the previous year.
Okay.
For those NTI days. The ADA for the previous year, I said SAR, that's where it comes from, but the ADA for the previous year is what we get on those NTI days. And that's a state, that's across the board of the state. It's by district, but it's whatever your ADO was previous year. So I do apologize for the board notes. I didn't get mine up till a couple hours before. I totally forgot about it. So I forgot about it. Telling on myself here, but.
I hadn't noticed. You're really good telling yourself. Thank you, Marcus. Does anybody else have anything? Brandon, you got any fun stuff you want to share with us?
No matter, we support students during NTI Day, so just know that when we have an NTI Day, our phone rings. We've had people come to parking lots. We've walked to the street to give Chromebooks to students, and just know that we're there. So just know that. That's all I got.
I would like to do it.
Huh?
Big penguin walk.
Kayla did a lot.
I just wanted, Mr. Bishop had left, but, you know, kudos to our staff that helped get the meals together for the families. Wow, that's such a big thing for our families, so please make sure you
I will.
relay that.
He and Mr. Thomas had to step out just a little bit early to go to an event at the middle school.
And I know, attendance wasn't great yesterday, but I do think you all made the right decision of bringing kids back, because I know a lot of kids were where they needed to be yesterday, so I don't know if you all caught a lot of slack over that, but
I would have slid on a sled to get Carabelle to school yesterday.
I think it was, I support the decision. I think it was a good decision.
Next thing is our public comment. We do not have anything scheduled for that. After that, we have our superintendent's communication.
Just a couple of things I want to comment on. Our USDA grant announcement that we had to cancel due to the ice, that has been rescheduled for February 16th at 11, and that is next door at the farmer's market, and I can text that date to you all, but if anyone is available, we would love to have you join us on that day to celebrate that grant. We've got some really neat presentations planned for that day with our teachers and our students. So we're excited about that day. Trent mentioned thanking everyone for getting the sidewalks and parking lots and all of that work, but I also want to make sure that we thank Ken and his team. They pulled off a small miracle with us being able to go yesterday with all of those bus routes and changes, and thanks to our drivers for being flexible, and Ken and the mechanics for getting out, checking roads and helping and getting all that lined out. So big kudos to that whole team. We appreciate them. And also I'd like to thank Judge Holbrook for helping us. You know, he jumped in and helped us as well. So with all of that process. So big thanks to him. I had sent you all a text about that the Kentucky Department of Education was doing a video feature on our school district for our community-based accountability. They've been in the district yesterday and then again today. That has gone really, really well, and I'm excited to see what they produce. They've interviewed all of the department heads. They've been in schools. They've talked to kids. They've featured some great projects, and it's going to be a really well-produced video. I expect it to be 13 to 15 minutes long. So they're going to have a lot of great footage. So as soon as we're able to get that released, I'll make sure to share that with you all. But it's going to be, it's really, really nice. It's going to be really, really nice. So on the superintendent's webinar today that I joined in, they spoke about our district and talked about the good work that we're doing in community-based accountability, and gave everyone across the state the heads up that the video is coming out. So we're excited. I thank Savannah for organizing and scheduling and getting everything aligned and taking our producer around to our school district. So it's going to be fun to see. Last thing in front of you, you have a report that Miss Jenny and Savannah worked on. This is just an impact study that they have done on our budget if we are not able to receive an increase in our SEEK funding. It highlights our three big asks. We're asking for, of course, an increase in SEEK funding for that base, that pupil funding rate. We're asking for an increase in transportation for it to be fully funded, and we're asking for an increase in Tier 1. So this is just information for you, data for you, statistics that outlines our expenses as related to transportation and the increases we're seeing in busing, increases we're seeing in paying our insurance, and and just some data talking points for you to use as you talk to our local representatives, or our senator, or even people that serve in the House of Representatives or in the Senate that don't represent Rockcastle. This is information that they need to hear as well. So this is just for your reference to use, so you can see the impact that it's going to have on our district.
Has this been sent to our legislators?
We met with Representative Bray on Friday for several hours and shared this with him, and I will be in Frankfurt tomorrow morning and we'll share it with our senator.
Good. Yes, very good. Because, I mean, just reading this, okay? A single bus in 21 was 97,000 and now 154. And we've been averaging purchasing what, 3 to 4 buses a year?
Three
If
is
on a
our-
good year?
3 is our recommended number.
Yes.
Stay where we need to be at. Anything less than that, we're playing catch up in following years.
Yeah. And we played catch up for many, many years, did we not?
Yep.
I believe we did that whenever you first started, didn't we?
We were just buying 2 for several years there, and if you go back before that, they bought 5 about 3 years in a row to catch up from
Yeah.
several years ago, a long time ago. We've done good the last few years, real good.
Board comments, ma'am?
Well, I think on the SEEK, I think would be helpful for anybody that cares about education funding to call a representative at our center and let them know how valuable that is. From what I understand, the approach to the budget this year has been a bare bones budget, and then they'll add things that people value and call about. And so I think everybody in this room and other people making those calls, and obviously be respectful, but tell them what it means and how valuable it is. And I just encourage folks to do that. And then House Bill 257 is a new accountability bill, and I'd encourage our staff to look at that. I think there's a lot of good in it, and a lot of it lines up with our community-based accountability, but that does align with a lot of things that we've done here and are doing here. So hopefully something will happen with that, but I think that would be good to let them know. And if there's anything staff-wise that we think needs to be tweaked on that, it'd be better to fix it now than after it's passed. So
One thing, Matt, just to comment on that, I think our staff had a great concern with science assessment being moved to from 4th grade to 5th grade. That has now been transferred back to stay in the 4th grade. So that's a positive and I feel like a lot of input was taken on that from our teachers.
that's good.
I don't have anything, sorry, just get my notes. I just appreciate transparency and communication. I preach those everywhere I go because it can save a lot of time in the back end. So thank you all I know it might seem like a lot, but I like the information. So I do appreciate it.
Lisa?
I just want to thank everybody for making me feel so welcome and for being a part of such a wonderful community and a wonderful school system.
I don't really have anything. Looking forward to our few days at conference and our time together. Maybe hopefully getting some new information.
I'm glad you triggered me to remind you all of that. Thank you. You get the A+ today. Thank you. I will say, and I think I've made all of you all aware, our Mount Vernon Elementary team will be doing the presentation on Sunday morning again.
Oh, wonderful.
So they will be there. We have made reservations again to take them to the spaghetti factory like we did last year. So that was the highlight of a lot of kids really, really enjoyed that. So we've got those reservations made for Saturday night. So we'll spend that time with our kids and their families.
I'm excited for that.
And that is something that we are providing their motel stay for those kids. Okay.
Wonderful. There was a huge crowd that showed up for that last year, and I anticipate it to be even bigger this year.
They did fabulous last year,
They
and I
did.
think the word has gotten out to other districts. So
by that group of kids.
I mean, we moved a lot of people. It was,
I think it's going to be very
awesome.
Yeah, looking forward looking forward to all of that, and, I'm glad the snow was lifting. I was getting really depressed. I thought it was August. I thought it was August before it was all gonna go away. So.
Um, I, I appreciate everything you all do. Ken, you and your staff, Trent, I mean, wow, what you all do every day. Thank you all so much. All of you just go above and beyond. And unlike Matt, who said that he thought that we should be very, very respectful about certain things, and I'm always about respect. However, I do think that this type of information is something that the entire public needs to be made aware of, because including our newspaper, the radio station, and everything else. Because, and I want to express it like this, um, these type of numbers, a shortfall for our school district, means that that is less that we can do for our kids. And that is what we are all in the business for, is to give our children every single opportunity that we can give them. So therefore, with that being said, I will probably share this information to the Mount Vernon Signal. And I would like them to know, because I think our general public needs to be made aware of what's at stake. So, and I will be an advocate for public education till probably I'm the day I leave this world. So, we need to keep our kids number one. And when that quits, it's not a political thing. Our kids are kids.
And that's
They're not
that's
a
becoming
matter
a
of a
trend.
certain party.
Unfortunately,
Our
it's
kids,
becoming a trend.
yeah, our kids are our kids, and they do not need to be the exception to why we do our best. So, thank you all for everything that you all do every day. I appreciate you, and with nothing else, I look forward to spending time with you all at the end of this month. And also, I'll put a plug in, because Marcus, well, we'll have another board meeting, but we do have a Unite celebration coming up in March.
March 26th. We're going to talk more about it tomorrow at the meeting.
Yes.
But it's at the high school, and we've got a good evening planned. Vice President's mother's going to come and speak, so we're looking forward to that.
And I wanted to share something too that is coming in March, but I'll put the word out there. VOA is partnering with Advent Health, which is out of Clay County, to offer free health screenings to the entire community. And that is something that I'm hoping a lot of our families can utilize on that day. So
Let us know that and we can share that out.
yes, yes.
And can you put what's included in those free health screenings?
They will be checking for diabetes, heart disease. They will be doing hearing screenings, eye exams, everything. Yes. And then there will also be a connector from the state there for any families that does not have access to insurance, that is willing to get them signed up and see if they qualify. So it's going to be sort of a wraparound service that's going to be offered. So, yeah, yeah. And the reason we're partnering with Advent Health is because they've done this in other counties. So they reached out and want to be able to just offer those services, and they will then connect them to providers here in Rockcastle County. So
Good.
that's a great
If
thing.
you'll get that to me or
Yes.
Savannah, we can
Please.
advertise that as well.
Absolutely. But with that, if we have nothing else, need a motion to adjourn?